Hello, Tenthers, welcome. You must be all thinking about now. So many days you have not come to school and teachings on how to say the blackboard or smart board is not taking place. Rather, no classes are going on. But what do you think? The show must go on. No? Yes. The show is actually going on, and we are again back to our teaching, learning, study lesson programs. So I just remind you that first there was a reduced syllabus instructed to us. Then there is a further reduced syllabus instructed to us. Now hereafter, I know you may have to face your question paper made by the mock group or maybe our school that we don't know. But obviously now you have to prepare straight in for your final exam. Now please concentrate on the reduced syllabus, further reduced syllabus. Now in the further reduced syllabus also, they have not removed any chapter as such. They have only lessened, means they have reduced some of the portions from each chapter. So locate it, find it out, and obviously as I am going to give you the videos, I am keeping in mind what are the portions which are not in the further reduced syllabus. With this introduction, let us begin today with the manufacturing industries, and we will be concentrating mainly today on the agricultural industry, namely sugar industry. So in the context of the manufacturing industries, uh, if you go through your syllabus, you will find out that the significance and the need or the importance of the industries needed. India, for India, not for the global. Global there is needed, but we let us concentrate mainly on India. Okay, all your what is called content of your geography in standard 10 is confined to Indian context. Okay, so need or importance of industries in India. Number one, our population. Very soon you will be competing, rather we are already competing with China, and if we go at this rate we will be number one in the world, but that's not a good sign. Becoming rank one, number one, all is not good. So our population is increasing rapidly. Agriculture alone cannot support the growing populations, the need of the population. Various need, food, shelter, etc., so many things. So rapid industrialization is necessary too, to supply the need of this vast population of India. Industry, it provides employment opportunities to many Indians. Atmanirbhar Bharat. So we need the opportunities also, no, job opportunities. If there is many industries in India, obviously it will give job opportunities to many Indian citizens. Industries manufacture machines and equipments for our defense. You know what is going on in the north. We are sandwiched between the problem created by Pakistan, China, and in some small way even Nepal also recently. So whatever we need our defense, and to keep our defense strong, we have to manufacture our own equipments, machines, and obviously for this industrialization is required. Industries boost up the standard of technology and know-how. Again, the present is called government is insisting on the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Obviously, let us talk about then our to boost up our own technology and know-how. Obviously, industrialization is challenge as well as the battlefield to exercise all your skills. It helps to maintain a favorable balance of trade. If your industry is good, If you have got manufactured products are good and plenty, we can say it's called export them and earn good amount of foreign currency, and that is how the balance of trade will be very high or balanced. Now there are some factors that affect the location of industries. You cannot just this called built up or call establish uh, an industry anywhere you like. There should be some factors you should keep in your mind, and these are the factors. First of all, availability of the particular raw materials which will be used for that industry, whether it is mineral or agricultural product. Power supply, electricity, the generation source must be nearer to avoid extra investment of transmitting to far off places. So the generation must be nearer. Labor, ample amount of skilled. Okay, if you have to have Atmanirbhar Bharat and if you have to have our standard high, then we need skilled labor. So ample amount of skilled labor as well as hard working laborers should be available. Transport should be another very important component of the development of our industry. Water supply, big industries, most of the industries, they need a lot of huge amount of water. So a huge amount of water supply should be there. Industries should be located near the source of adequate water supply. Market, market is the main thing, my dear. You may need to buy the raw material from the market, or you have to sell your finished product to the market, both for the availability of raw materials as well as the selling of the products. The role of market is very important. And finally, climate. Climate, you have to choose the climate. Suppose you are doing the cotton industry, then you cannot make it in that is called UP, where is the loo is blowing, because the loo will definitely do harm to the staples of the cotton. Cotton needs a very wet, the humidity, where there is a humidity is little high, plus moisture, the air should be moisture, the this called soil should be full of moisture for some time, and that's how cotton can survive. uh, Vice versa, there are many things. So climate plays a very significant role for the location of the growth of industries. Before we proceed to the particular focusing on a particular industry, let us classify the industries in major few terms: agro-based industries and mineral-based industries. Agro-based, from the name itself, it is connected to agriculture. So industries that depend on the agricultural products are known as the agro-based industries. In India, we have got many famous agro-based industries. Some of them are cotton, sugar, jute. These are all industries, okay? Industries. And mineral-based industries, obviously, the name itself is saying that the raw material is based on the mineral. Some of the famous example is iron and steel, cement factories, etc., etc., etc. Now there is a large scale industries and small scale industries. Large scale industry, small scale industry is mainly in terms of investment, the capitals, the money part, okay, the finance part. So large scale industries, these industries need a very huge amount of investment of capital for the establishment as well as for their running. Obviously, again, example is iron and steel, textile industries, etc. Whereas the small scale industries will be the investment of the capital is comparatively much less, and for their establishment and the running. Examples are again handloom, rice mills, etc. Public sector and private sector. The public sector means These are owned and governed by the state or the central government. Name is public, but owned by the government. Means sarkari. Okay. Examples are post and telegraph, railways, the big example, SAIL, NTPC, etc. etc. Then we have got the private sector. These are the industries which are owned and governed by some individuals or a group of individuals. Examples is Tata Steel, Tata Group they say also. So Tata Steel, Tata Motors, okay. So this is how the public and private sector is understood. Today particularly we shall be discussing one of the very important agro based industries, that is sugar industries. Now India you see is the world's second largest producer of sugar. This is also the second largest agro based industry in India. The sugar industry of India is mainly confined in UP and Bihar, means North India. This is known, this north belt of sugar producing regions is known as the sugar belt of India, or sometimes they say like sugar bowl of India. In fact, the sugar bowl of the world is known as Cuba in the West Indies, Cuba. So UP and Bihar or this region, some part of other states also, a little bit of Madhya Pradesh, etc. So mainly UP and Bihar, this belt of sugar producing regions of India is known as sugar belt of India. You may be asked question, which is known as sugar belt of India and why? Why, so you will come to know later. The important centers of these regions are Gorakhpur, Lakhimpur, Sitapur, Lucknow, Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh, and Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur, and Champaran in Bihar. Now, for your exams point of view, should you know all the names? If you know, very good. If you don't know, but at least you know the major states, that is UP and Bihar, and some important, it's called centers, like at least the two names, like for UP Gorakhpur, Lakhimpur, and for Bihar Darbhanga, Champaran. These are the very important names. Now, what are the factors that make Bihar and UP the sugar belt of India? Sugar belt of India. Why? These factors. How many you should know? At least 4. How many you will write? 4. How many they ask? Maybe 2. Why should you write 4? So that your answer is absolutely correct. The examiner will pick the 2 best answer. In this connection, I always tell you 10thers, you are advised to write. If they ask you 2 reasons, you give 3 reasons, 4 reasons, so that the examiner will take the 2 best. Your 2 marks is intact. So these are the factors. In UP and Bihar, there is ideal conditions with fertile alluvial soil. You know, this Gangetic plain. The perennial rivers of northern plains provide irrigation. Again, the Gangetic river of Ganga and most of its tributaries, which are coming from Himalaya, they are snow sustained rain, therefore they have got river water all throughout the year. They are perennial rivers. Then there are adequate levels due to high population in this belt. You know, UP and Bihar, this part of India, is the population rate is very high. So good amount of labor is available. Then sufficient water supply also for washing and processing, water for irrigation, water for washing and processing, because after the cutting of the sugar it needs lots of you have to clean it and send it. Good transport system connecting parts of India, because it's a plain, so making of railways and building of railways and roadways is cheaper and easier compared to South India. South India is full of very rough terrain. There are lots of this is a plateau.
It's a plateau. South India is plateau, so you have got lots of high and down valleys, etc. Lots of mountains comes in between, lots of valleys. Whereas in northern India is northern plain. So making a good network of transport by means of rails and roads is easier. And there are good network of transport, good power supply, because there are many rivers, so hydroelectricity is there. And Jharkhand itself is not so far away from Bihar and UP. Jharkhand is the powerhouse of all coal, so the thermal power, NTPC is very close. The largest NTPC called center is in Farakka, so it is just in that belt. Now there are some other sugar producing states also apart from UP and Bihar. Okay, so UP and Bihar in North India, they are the best. But apart from that, they have got Haryana, Punjab, West Bengal, and Madhya Pradesh in North India. But presently, this industry has developed a tendency to migrate towards southern India. A very important ICSC question: why is the sugar production is changing or shifting from North India to South India? Again, these are the regions or factors. These are the reasons or factors. So, why is sugar industry migrating to south? Means South India. Production period is longer in south, so many people will get job opportunities. Southern states are free from the attacks of loo. UP and Bihar gets attacks of loo. That's why the sucrose in the sugar cane gets dried up. Ultimately, the production becomes less. So they are free from loo. The typical tropical climate of the south favors sugar growth. The black soil, the famous black soil of the Deccan Plateau, is very good for sugar. Recently the farmers have found out. The sucrose content of sugar in the south is comparatively more. Let us not go biologically, scientifically, why it is more, how much it is more, why it is more, why it should be more. We are giving you the facts, informations. So no, the sucrose content of sugar in the south is comparatively more. The crushing season for sugar is longer in the southern India. Again, job opportunities. The cooperative sugar mills in the south are better managed. Cooperative sugar mills means it is maintained by a cooperative banks or an association group. The holdings, that means the cultivable land, in south are larger and well planned. The sugar mills in the south are located near the sugar field, so that immediately after the harvest it can be sent or transported to the sugar mill, and in the way the drying or the losing of the sucrose will be much less. The sugar lobby is a whole, it is called industry, is a entrepreneur. The sugar lobby of South India is greater boon for capital supply, investment. The sugar lobby supplies lots of investment. Yeah, but still India is facing a lot of problems. Okay, so problems of sugar industries in India. First of all, India has very poor quality of sugar cane. Sugar cane, the raw material, sugar cane is very poor quality. Two ways it is poor. One is it gives low yield, means total production of sugarcane is less. Second, its sucrose content is also less or not of high quality. Second, the cost of sugar production in India is comparatively higher because it is still now it is labor incentive. It is lots of machineries still have not yet been introduced to Indian ways or methods of cultivation. India still needs to develop the modern methods and technology. The second and third, they are interconnected. That is why the cost of production is going high. The mill workers do not get earning opportunities throughout the year. Point to be noted. Because the sugar cultivation is confined to 4 to 7 months only. The what will they do the rest of the months, rest of the year? So many farmers, you can say, or laborers who are now opting out to be part of the sugar industry, because of course they have to fill their stomach and run their family. They have to have the income for the whole year, throughout the year. So because of this problem, many laborers, workers are leaving the sugar industry job. Almost whole of the sugar can harvested at the same time. Means there is a time. Say for instance, I'm giving an example like November, December, all the sugar of India, all of India, maybe north and south may be little bit different, but obviously the workers of north in north, in the workers of south in south, they may interchange, but more or less the sugar cane is harvested at the same time. Therefore again job opportunities problem, and all of a sudden the work pressure also comes. All of a sudden, since it is harvested together, now sugar cane is cannot like that you can, it's called preserve and then you do it later. It has to, the sucrose has to be extracted immediately, otherwise it will dry up, it will rot, it will ferment, so many other problems will start. So that's a huge problem, because the whole of sugar cane harvested at the same time. The supply of raw materials to the sugar mills is quite irregular, because it is all depend on the agriculture itself. If the raw material, the sugar cane is not produced and supplied regularly, the sugar mills will not run also regularly, industry also will not run properly. The sugar price is fixed by the government, which are not favorable most of the time to the farmers. Recently there are so many laws are coming up. The government will try to give the good amount of payment to the, what is called, to the farmers. So that attraction should be there. Otherwise if the farmers don't cultivate the sugar cane, sugar industry will not, exist, because this sugar industry is depending on sugar cane. The sugar cane has to be produced, the government has to do something. And sugar mills are big mills. It is bought by the, it's called either individuals or by, it's called sarkari, I don't know, but the rate, the cost of the sugar cane should be good, so that farmers will get enough incentive, enough earning capacity, so that they will get attracted, they will get interested. There is no proper utilization of the byproducts of sugar. See, very important byproducts are there. We will be discussing in detail. It's called bagasse, is called molasse, and they call press mud. They should be used, but in India, good scientific way of using this is still not been introduced. These byproducts can otherwise be used to reduce the cost production. This is roughly a picture of your sugar mill. You see the lot of sugar cane, how they're getting picked up and where they're dumping, God knows. But I wish one day we would have taken you to one of the sugar mills. Unfortunately, we don't have nearby. Now these are the some important byproducts of sugar cane, and it comes in the exam either in 1 mark form or 2 marks form. But these byproducts of sugar cane, they ask you what is this, what is bagasse, what is molasse, what is press mud, etc, etc, or what do you know about it, or write a short notes on, etc. So bagasse are those things, these are leftover things of sugar cane after crushing. If this sugar cane is picked up by the crane, and it will be, maybe it will be put on in a kind of where they extract the sugar sucrose, the juice, then what will be left out? The straw, the leaves, all the stems, etc. that is known as the bagasse. This is the substance part, not the juice part, substance part. They are used for making paper, pulp, cardboard, etc. Point to be noted, dear children. Uses. They ask you the uses. Okay. This bagasse is used for making paper, pulp, cardboard, etc. So once again, that means it's not just the sugar cane sucrose, but even the bagasse can be highly, it is called, used in the higher level. It can also be a source for the raw material for the paper industry. Point to be noted. So that's why these kind of things has not yet been developed in India. That's why our these byproducts are, yeah, to certain extent, are being just how to say, neglected. Molasse. If bagasse is the hard substance, then molasse is the liquid substance. So again, it is after the sucrose is separated, the good part of where the sugar content is there, the leftover juice content is called the syrup. It's a dark colored syrup. It's called molasse. It is used, molasses is not the plural, that's how the name is, molasses. Okay, it is used in making plastics. I never knew that. And alcohol. Ram. I say ram is also kabhi. It is also, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this is also used to make shoe polish. How sweet! Our shoe polish is also made from this molasse. I read somewhere. Yeah, and then called the press mud. No, sorry, shoe polish is coming here. Okay, see, have you ever heard? Did you ever? Did you know that our shoe polish is being made from the sugar? Thank God, cheaties don't know that cheaties would come and attack our shoes. Press mud. It is the residue of the filtration of sugarcane juice. It is not only maybe that molasse coming in the beginning itself with all sort of dirt and everything. It comes it's a syrup, and it is also a kind of not syrup but say press mud. It is the residue, the filtration of sugarcane juice. It is used to make wax, shoe polish, etc. So dear children, when you discuss or learn about the sugar industries, few points keep in your mind. Know what is its how it stands. It is the second largest of the world. It is the second largest agro-based industry in the world. Sugar belt is confined to North India mainly, and that is why it is known as sugar belt of India. There are factors which make Bihar and India is called UP to make the sugar belt of India. There are other than called sugar belt of India. There are other states in northern India. There are Haryana, Punjab, West Bengal, and Madhya Pradesh. However, there is a tendency presently the sugar cultivation, the whole cultivational trend is shifting to southern India, South India. Why? We have discussed these regions. These are the reasons. These are the factors. And we have also discussed about, in spite of that, India being the second largest sugar producing countries of the world, we still have lots of problems. And this is a nice picture of a sugar factory and the byproducts. With all this, we come to the end of today's lesson, but the beginning of your studies, and I always say you are most welcome to put your appreciation. Dear children, don't we deserve some appreciation from you? There's so much hard work we are doing for you. Of course, it is our job, we understand, but still we are doing appreciation. You express your problems, you express your questions, but in the comment box. We are dealing with video. Please put your whatever you want to write or pen, please do it in the comment box. please do not send any message regarding the video teaching to my WhatsApp. Thank you so much. God bless you. Pray and hope that soon we will come back to school. We are missing you. I am missing you, dear children. God bless you.